I'm going to spend 100 days with realistic mods in Red Dead 2. From getting a job cleaning floors, washing dishes, and mining, to owning a vehicle and suffering realistic injuries. I have 100 days to get $30,000, which equals to 1 million today, and use it to buy a ship, an air balloon, and a home. The catch is, I started with absolutely nothing. I have to get food, find shelter, look for a town, and go from a nobody to the most successful businessman in the country. This is the most dangerous area of the game. And this is me, about to freeze to death. My health was going down every second. If I did not find shelter soon, I would die. The cold was not the only problem. One bad move would be the end of me. If that thing sees me, I will stand no chance against it. I made sure to keep my distance. Once I was far away, I used the little energy I had left to run downhill, following a small river. Although I had to make sure to not fall in there. The weather only got worse. So much worse. The cold was absolutely unbearable. It was even harder to move. I tried reaching a higher vantage point, hoping to get a better sense of where I was. But then... I was on the brink of death. The fall really injured my leg. Things couldn't get worse. I limped towards some abandoned buildings, old houses covered in snow. I checked each one, hoping to find anything useful. Fortunately, I found some food inside a drawer, even a miracle tonic. It was already open, but everything helped. Even with this, I was still freezing. I needed heat, fast. While searching another house, I found a stove. I could actually use it. This raised the temperature of the room. With this small victory, I ate the oatcakes I found earlier. I also drank the miracle tonic. It helped with the pain, but this wasn't enough. I would need to see a doctor. Whatever I had done to my leg was serious. Finally, it was time to sleep. Just me and the cold waiting outside. The next morning, I took one last look around, but there was nothing of value. I did find a book, but that's it. If I wanted to stand a chance out there, I needed something to defend myself. In the meantime, I took a torch with me. At the very least, it would give me a bit of warmth. Maybe it would even keep the wolves away. I was still in a lot of pain. Whatever I had done to my leg was bad. Every step hurt like hell. Getting wet would be a death sentence. So instead, I went the long way around. I kept walking and walking, slowly. Eventually, I found another house. Inside, there was only some canned salmon up for grabs. I was losing hope. There wasn't anything here. But then, I saw something in the snow. A carbine repeater. With this, I could maybe stand a chance. Now with the rifle on my back, I felt a little less helpless than before. Still injured, still cold, but no longer defenseless. For the first time since this started, I felt like I might survive. This is seriously a realistic mod. I finally started getting away from the snow. Slowly, the environment began to change. Green trees, grass, color. Now that I was no longer freezing, I needed to find a doctor. At one point, I came across a ranch, but as I got closer, I realized it was a gang hideout. There was no way I could fight them in my condition, so I stayed away. I was no gunslinger, just a normal man trying to survive. I kept following the road, hoping it would lead me to a settlement. That's when I saw a sign, for sale. It was a house. Maybe one day, I will be able to afford something like this. Hopefully. As I daydreamed about owning a home, I heard the gunshots nearby.
I knew you fellas had come.
Orders is orders. Someone's looking out for you.
Let's all get out of here.
Let's go.
Once they were gone, I approached the scene. There were dead policemen on the ground, and the horses. Damn bandits. Heartless. This really was a dangerous country. I didn't loot the bodies, out of respect. Still, no town on sight, but I did come across a train station. I honestly wished I could buy a ticket. My leg was killing me. I couldn't even afford the cheapest one, so I kept walking until finally I reached Valentine. Civilization, people, shops, everything I needed. The very first place I went to was the doctor's office. To heal my injury, I needed $50 and I had zero. So I went to the saloon and asked for work. Somehow they accepted me. My job was simple, cleaning tables. I didn't care. I was grateful to have something like this. The place was packed with people. I scrubbed as hard as I could, one table after the other. After finishing the work, I got paid $28. It was good, but it wasn't enough for the doctor. I then thought about asking for a loan at the bank, but they wouldn't give it to me, looking like this. So that night, I laid down in the mud right next to the horses. I had a lot of trouble falling asleep. What would really help is a sleep mask, like this one I got from Manta Sleep, the sponsor of today's video. I've been using it every single night and it's great, and I'm even taking naps with it. The mask has amazing adjustability with 100% blackout. It's breathable, comfortable, it has a soft, premium feel. The eye cuffs put no pressure on your eyes. It works perfectly for side sleepers too. There's multiple versions to choose from. There's the cool mask, the steam mask, the pro mask, the wader mask, and the new gen Manta Sound Sleep mask. This one's got Bluetooth speakers, so you can listen to music, a podcast, or whatever you like while you fall asleep. Be sure to check out the Manta Sleep website, link in the description, and use my code for 10% off your order. Thank you to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. The next morning, I was completely filthy. It was time for a bath. I leaned towards the nearest river, took a drink, and proceeded to clean myself. Getting the mud off was harder than I expected. I will have to pay for a proper bath soon. My hunger was killing me, so I headed to the general store and bought the cheapest food available. I ate one vegetable after the other. The injury was not getting any better. I needed to get that loan. With the money I had left, I checked out the store's catalog to find some clothing for me. Finally, it happened. I got the loan. I got out, walking through the mud. I entered the doctor's office, and then my injuries were healed. I could finally stand on my own 2 feet without pain. Still, I was dizzy and I needed a proper rest. Actually, now I had a debt to pay to the bank, so I headed back to the saloon to work. I had only a few days to repay everything, and of course with interest. I collected my salary for the day, $34, more than yesterday, making progress. I should have focused on saving every single penny, but I wanted to have a little treat. I went to the Saints Hotel right across the street and asked for a room to spend the night. A real bed, a fireplace. I know it seems like nothing, but I started naked in the snow, sleeping on the ground, and now I had clothes, a mattress, and a debt to pay to the bank, so let's go. There's no time to waste. Starting day 5 was the first time I actually felt good. People greeted me on the streets.
Morning to you.
I was starting to get to know the townsfolk.
Hello, you.
The next day, I was no longer cleaning tables. This time, I was in charge of the stock. My job was to go and collect the fish bag. I was on my way to retrieve it, excited for the promotion. But then...
That's it. All you got? All right. I'm gonna be the one that puts you in the ground.
Bandits out of nowhere. They wanted to rob me. I ran as fast as I could, trying to find the sheriff and ask for help.
Ain't nothing.
Come on, do something! The law was useless here. They didn't care. I was on my own, so I started to run away under the rain as far as I could. Thankfully, I ended up losing them. My head and my face hurt like hell. Another injury. I was still in debt, and now I needed to see the doctor again. But before that, I had a job to finish. I picked the fish bag, carrying it over my shoulder. Dizzy, barely able to walk straight. I brought it back to the saloon. With my paycheck in my hand, I paid a visit to the doc, who were practically buddies now, and healed my wounds. Before going to rest, I bought some food, ate, drank, and... The fight left me absolutely filthy, so finally I paid for a proper bath. I really needed it. It was so nice. Bubbles, drinks, the whole thing. I made sure to clean myself good, every nook and cranny. For the next few days, I continued doing my job, sometimes cleaning tables, sometimes retrieving bags. I worked, rested, worked, and so on, until bandits again. Nobody did anything to help. The law was non-existent again. Thankfully, this time there were only a couple of them, and I was able to defend myself. I knocked them out to the ground.
Well, they were idiots.
With that done, I delivered the fish bag and finally got enough money and pay off my debt. From here on out, I was free. A new chapter begins. I decided to celebrate, took a good bath, and I visited the hairdresser. I trimmed my beard, cut my hair, and put on some pomade. I felt like a new man. I was living the life. Well, I was still cleaning tables. My boss was on the ground, dead. Just look at him. His neck is twisted, leg broken. The people kept fighting everywhere. Even the hairdresser was dead. No! Some even tried to fight the piano player. I couldn't believe what was happening. I had no job anymore. It was time to leave this town. I headed to the train station. Normally, you buy a ticket from the clerk and get teleported to your destination, but I wasn't going to do that. I actually went outside and waited for the train to arrive. Watching the beautiful landscape through the window, enjoying every moment. By night, we arrived at the town of Rhodes. It was pretty late, so I headed straight to the nearest hotel. This saloon was much bigger and fancier than the one in Valentine. But as soon as I arrived at the bar, more troublemakers.
You all in here chawing? You're in my spot.
It seemed as if there was no way I could be at peace.
It's all good.
We looking
Calm
for your
down.
kind.
Yeah, this ended up in another fight. The worst of it all, I became wanted for armed assault, even though I didn't do anything. I was just defending myself. Thankfully, the sheriff didn't actually do anything. He let this one pass. Unfortunately, I was not welcome in this saloon anymore. I couldn't even rent a room, so I had to set up a campfire outside to get some sleep. The next morning, I went around looking for some work and found a lumberjack who needed help chopping wood. It was a simple task, quite relaxing, although the pay was pretty terrible. If I wanted to maximize my earnings, I needed to go to a proper city. So I took the train once again, this time to visit the next stop, Saint Denis, the big city. This place was like anything I had seen before. The amount of people, the architecture, the culture, the music, everything felt alive. There was a musician playing the trumpet. Other people gathered around too. It felt real. I even came across a theater. I paid for a ticket and actually went inside, taking a seat. It was a whole movie. The people laughed and reacted to the scenes.
Very sad.
It was amazing. Night fell and I visited one of the saloons. This one was really fancy. Even the piano player was on another level. I rented a room for the night, which was incredibly nice, and I had a good night's sleep. Next morning, I asked the bartender for work. At this point, I felt like an expert, cleaning tables left and right. Here, I got paid like $40. The salary in the city was much better. While walking through the streets, I saw a policeman chasing a criminal. He caught him, knocked him out, and carried him over his shoulder. I asked what happened, but he didn't want to talk. I loved how immersive the city felt. Stuff happened all around me. Today, I had to retrieve a fish bag from the market area. On my walk there, I contemplated everything, admiring the architecture, watching the people go about their routines, every single detail. After picking up the stock, I came across a man selling a book.
So that you can be like me, a rich, happy, successful man.
It was a scam, so I ignored it. Once I got paid for the day, I ordered something to drink. A man started talking to me.
You're someone's driver, I assume.
I think my stare must have been intimidating because everyone in the room was looking at me. Exploring was really fun, but I had less than $300 I needed to lock in. It was time to take a second job, so I headed to the docks, specifically the pier where the big ships were located. I went to speak with the harbor master, and he sent me to retrieve a boat. It was pretty far away on foot. Once I left the city, you could actually feel the difference. The noise faded away. All you could hear were the bugs and birds. The next day, I was walking through town in broad daylight, and then a group of lunatics threw Molotovs and immediately ran away on their horses. The police arrived right after, too late. Nothing came out of it, but I loved random moments like this. I took a quick drink and headed to the docks again. This time the job was different. I had to go to a fishing spot. There was a problem though. When I arrived, I realized I did not own a fishing rod. So I went to the general store and bought one, alongside some bait. Back to my spot, I set up everything and cast the line. This job was really relaxing. Just the sound of the water, the seagulls, and the beautiful view. Eventually, something bit. I fought the fish, trying not to break the line in the process, and turns out it was a small rock bass.
You'll do.
For the second try, it took a long time. I tried different kinds of baits, finally catching a bluegill. This completed the job. The payout was decent. Together with the saloon work, I was making progress. I had to deal with the usual random ruffian trying to steal my bag, but I was able to take care of it, collecting my salary. For the first time, I had over $1,000. I kept on grinding, fighting bandits, and enjoying the different activities in the city. I sat down to play a game of dominoes with a random guy at a table in the street. I had absolutely no idea how to play.
Let's see if anything's biting.
After a couple more weeks of hard work, I got to $2,000, but I still needed to pump those numbers up. It was time for a third job. This is when I stumbled upon the logistics manager. I began my work as a deliverer. For the first mission, I needed to transport a horse. The destination was Emerald Ranch, so I had to cross the muddy swamps, galloping all the way through. The trip went well without issues, but then I realized I had no horse to get back to the city, so I took a train like a normal civilian. I genuinely loved doing this, just sitting down, looking through the window, watching the world go by. The trip was long enough that I arrived at Saint Denis at night, but that did not stop me. I went straight back to work, delivering another boat under the moonlight and cleaning more glasses. The next day, I decided to try something completely different. I took a train to Annesburg and headed to the mines. I talked to the manager and began my work as a miner. Seeing all the workers inside, the darkness, the lamps, it was so atmospheric. Once I reached a specific point, I was able to use my pickaxe. It took a long time to extract all the ore from the mine. I don't know how many hours I spent there. When I finally got back outside, it was already night. I collected my pay, and it was actually a good amount of money. There was no saloon or hotel in this town, so I rested for a bit on a bench. Not for long though, there was no time to waste. I went to the docks to keep working through the night. This one had a different type of job. I had to grab a bucket, walk all the way to a specific area, and clean the floors. It was actually pretty fun. I don't know why, but doing chores like this felt satisfying. I worked so much that the sun started rising. money was coming in, but I was still nowhere near my goal. I needed to step things up a notch. My next job application involved talking to the station manager to work as a train conductor. I literally was able to get inside and drive the whole thing. I could even use the whistle and ring the bell. It was so cool. The fact that recently I was just a passenger and now I'm here. What a journey. But I didn't stop there. I wanted something of my own. After all, the train wasn't mine. To begin with, I headed to the general store. Here I could buy my own personal wagon. There were different types, classes, sizes, even special ones, but I decided to go with the large wagon. The thing came with 2 horses included, which was great. The best part was that it had customization options. I could change parts, add decorations, and change the color. Finally, I gave it a test ride. It felt amazing, just going around the city as another normal civilian. Since I had a hunting wagon now, the next step was getting some weapons. So I paid a visit to the gun store. I made sure to be well equipped. I got a revolver, a wide variety of rifles, a lasso, bow, everything. With all these new possessions, I went to visit the hunter for a job. He tasked me with hunting a perfect rabbit carcass. I went outside the city to look for it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to find one in the swamps, to be honest. I saw some wild boars, but no rabbits. I kept investigating until it was getting dark, and I heard a roar from a bear. Then I stumbled upon alligators, multiple. It was too dangerous. I decided to set up camp in a more forested area to sleep until the morning. Thanks to the daylight, I finally found some rabbits. They were really fast though. I managed to take them down, but unfortunately, the carcass wasn't good enough. It needed to be a 3-star rabbit, so I had to keep looking. I spent a lot of time just running around. Later, while talking with the butcher in town, I realized he also had orders available. I needed to get a panther, a muskrat, a reddish egret, and even a trout. At this point, I figured out there was a menu that let me open the trunk of my wagon. I could also check my weapon locker and equip the different guns. Unfortunately, I was a pretty bad hunter at first. I was having a hard time finding anything. After a lot of patience, I finally found a perfect rabbit. Now I had to catch it, and it needed to be a perfect shot. I couldn't ruin its pelt. I ran what felt like miles until I finally took the shot. 3 stars. I brought it to the hunter and received my payment. As I kept refining my hunter skills, I came across a legendary animal area. It really caught my attention, so I took a look around. Then I realized something important. I didn't have a knife, which was really important as a hunter. To the general store once again. Besides the knife, I got some binoculars and provisions to help me hunt better. Back to it, I stumbled upon the dung from a legendary coyote, and it led me to some tracks I could follow, glowing. Then I found some fur, which led me to a carcass. Suddenly, it was right there. I ran after it, trying to find the right angle to get the perfect shot. But once again, I failed. My skills were questionable. Although, slowly, I started getting somewhat competent with time. The cart allowed me to transport multiple carcasses to sell to town. On my way to the butcher, things went downhill. Some bandits tried to rob me. I escaped as fast as I could. I almost lost everything I had. Thankfully, I arrived in Rhodes in one piece. While I was cleaning tables at the bar, I talked with my boss about what happened. He told me about some guy who could get me bodyguards to defend me while I do my deliveries. That person was the bartender in Rhodes. After handing in a few bucks, I now had my own hired gun. He could get on and off as a co-pilot. I could give him commands, even make him drive if I wanted to. He also had his own horse. Now I was able to hunt at peace, delivering the carcasses safely. He wasn't too friendly though. I needed a friend. That's when I met this little buddy. I gave it a good pat and was able to adopt it. Now, Coco was my new pal. I went hunting in the woods with my good boy, enjoying the time together.
Good one, boy.
Another job I delved into was basically taxi driver. I had to go to the saloon, greet the guests, take them to the stagecoach, and drive them to their destination. I loved how immersive the experience was. I was not the most delicate driver, but eventually I finished the trip and took the payment from each one of the passengers. After so much work, I had enough cash to afford owning my own business, a gunsmith. Here you can see the whole menu. We needed supplies right now, and I could order from a wide variety of options. Lancaster, Buck, Peterson-Jensen, a lot. Each one gave a different reputation. You can see it in this bar on the left. After choosing one, I could select different types of guns, each one with different costs. Once I ordered it, I had to actually retrieve the delivery from the other town and drive it all the way. You could literally see all the boxes stored in the trunk of the cart. I delivered the supplies to my shop, but it still was not enough, so I did another. Once that was done, I could finally open up shop. Here I could set the prices and even the staff's paycheck. For the moment I started with average for both. I could also cash in my own money into the business. I needed to do that to pay salaries and expenses. Just by waiting a little while, I saw how those $500 I cashed in turned into over $600, then $800, then $900, and so on. The speed was insane, and it was all passive income. It felt like I had finally made it. Money was flowing without me having to do anything. But that wasn't all. I could also buy upgrades. For example, I could pay my employees a bonus for staying up late, which would allow me to enter my business after hours. When this first batch of supplies ran out, I had earned over $4,000. It was incredible. I kept buying more supplies, driving wagons from other towns. I also bid for more upgrades. Things kept growing until the day finally arrived. I went to the general store, and the first thing I bought was the large tugboat. I could actually customize it, get on it, and drive it. It was insane. The sheer size of this thing, I couldn't believe I got it. It didn't end there. Next, I went to buy the air balloon. I hopped in and started flying to the skies. For some reason, this hit different. It was almost magical. The view was unbelievable. You could see the whole city, the horizon, the forest. I felt accomplished, but there was one last thing I needed to do.